Today I'll be spending 100 days in Graveyard Keeper. It is a game about managing a graveyard and making questionable decisions. So join me as I harvest body parts, bury bodies in my graveyard, help an Inquisition regain its popularity, run a church, manage a workforce of zombies, and ultimately try to find my way home after being hit by a truck and transported to this world. So let's begin. I went out to buy something at the convenience store. But as I was going home, I suddenly got a call from the love of my life. And it just suddenly happened. Light, flash, and I was dead. Or so I thought, and I met this mysterious man right here. I'm not really sure what he was, but I'm assuming he's a Grim Reaper or something. Anyways, I asked him if I could return home or something, but he just told me that I should become a good graveyard keeper and I might have a chance of going home. He then told me to dig up someone called Gary. Dig up someone. As I asked that question to myself, I was then transported to this house right here. I then followed this yellow arrow which told me where to go and what to dig. So yeah, I remembered him saying like dig Gary or something. So this skull right here, this guy is Gary and he is going to be our guide since we're very much new to this world and new to the graveyard keeper gig. Anyways, as we were talking, a sudden bell just rang. So Gary led the way because he found that sound pretty familiar. So we're gonna check it out. And upon arriving, I see a donkey right here. And behind it is what looks like a dead body. This donkey is pretty magical. It's a talking donkey. Wow. Anyways, this donkey complained about how he is a cheap labor, this cart isn't his, and he has to work for the capitalist bastard who owns it for only 5 carrots a day. Oh my god, this poor donkey. So yeah, he just continued to complain. Anyways, his role is to bring dead bodies here from the town. And now with the corpse on the ground, Gary suddenly appeared and told me to grab that juicy corpse while it's fresh. We're going inside this underground area right here. I guess we can call this the morgue. And this is where we're gonna work on the body to extract its parts. Like right now, we can only extract the flesh. And with this flesh, we can actually cook it and eat it to make burger, sandwich, and baked meat. That's crazy. Cannibalism straight away. Crazy. And once we're done harvesting the parts that we need from the body, we then bury it. So burying a corpse is pretty simple. We just need to build like a grave site where we're gonna dig and bury the corpse. So first we dig, then we place the corpse after digging the hole, and then place soil on top, finishing our burying of the corpse. And we also get a burial certificate after burying a corpse. So burial certificates are worth like 1 silver and 50 coins if we sell it to the dead horse. It's a tavern in this game. Oh, by the way, this is the bishop. Yeah, Gary was telling us that the bishop is coming. No, my son. Yeah, this is the bishop and they've been waiting for a graveyard keeper for 30 years or something. He inspected my graveyard and he said it was a messy graveyard. So he said that there's no way of him promoting me to a cleric unless I fix this graveyard up. So basically, the cleaner the grave is, the more points we have. Or basically, the better the decoration a grave has, the more points we have. And this man told me that he comes here every certain day of the week, which is this purple circle icon right here. So the days here work differently. Instead of numbers, we see symbols. And in that certain symbol, they will come here. Anyways, in order to make this bishop happy, we need to have a score of like 5 points on this graveyard. The current quality of our graveyard, it's negative 29. So we have a lot of work to do in order to make this place pretty. For now, I got working on clearing up the random branches that are in the graveyard. Next, with the small amount of repair kits that I have, I will repair most of the stuff here at the graveyard. And after I was done fixing and cleaning up the place, our quality level is now negative 12. So that's pretty good. A huge improvement from negative 29 to negative 11 now. As for my next goal, I need to go visit that town because I was pretty curious what's in the other side of this area. We have a suspicious looking area right here being guarded by a guard. We also have a wheat field right here. I can't really harvest it since it's not mine. And finally, we have reached town, and this is the tavern I was talking about called the Dead Horse. I then talked to Horadic right here. He is the tavern keeper. I asked a bunch of random questions. I also told him about my situation, that it has been crazy so far. And also, I'm handling the graveyard right now. I was pretty happy that there was a new graveyard keeper in town to take care of the graves. I asked him a couple of questions. The one that really highlights this conversation is regarding selling meat. I won't be able to sell him some meat unless I find a stamp that can like stamp the meat, that is like make it legal to sell it to him. It is pretty expensive, so he told me about a person called Snake. He is usually underground the church or something. Anyways, after all that talk, I then sold him the burial certificate that I have. And then I noticed that he had an item called a teleport stone, but I don't really have the money to purchase it. I need to find a way to earn like 2 silvers so I can buy the teleport stone. I then met this guy right here. He is Cresvolt and he is the blacksmith in this town. I then gave him a letter that Horadic gave us to give him. And with this letter, we were introduced properly to this blacksmith. Anyways, he gave me a rusty sword and a whetstone. He wanted me to take care of 2 slimes that were jumping around in the area. Also, after talking to him, I unlocked a blueprint for a furnace, iron ingot, and gathering of swamp irons. So first, I grinded the rusty sword so it is usable. And next up, we'll need to fight 2 slimes. Since I ran out of energy, I just drank like an energy potion that the blacksmith gave me. So it was now time for combat. So we have 2 slimes right here. I used my sword to slash them to death. It was pretty easy, just like 3 slashes and they were dead. I then reported back to the blacksmith and he gave me 5 pieces of simple iron parts. Also, because I finished this quest, my relationship with him increased by 10. So that's pretty good. The more relationship you have with NPC, the more you can do with them. Like trade better stuff. Like right here, we need to sell him stuff in order to unlock like tier 2. Now I was just on my way home. It's already day 2 because the day have passed. You can actually see if the day have passed at the upper left side. Anyways, as I arrived home, Gary then surprised me and asked me where I have been. So I told him I went to the village. I told him that it was so weird that everyone just finds me being here pretty normal, like nothing's happening. Anyways, Jerry remembered that he had some stuff at the cellar which I should go to. And also, I have unlocked a new thing to do, which is gathering. I also learned the recipes for making bread, pastry dough, and dough. And now that I'm back home, it's time to visit our basement. It was full of sounds. Also, there was this guy right here. So let me introduce you to this guy. This guy is Snake. He is the person we're gonna need to talk to in order to get that stamp, because we don't want to spend 30 silver in buying a stamp. Can't really interact with him yet because there's some blockage along the way, but we can clear it out once we have the sufficient materials to clear it out. So before sleeping, because I have no more energy, I use up all my energy to clean up a bit of the cellar. There were a couple of flowers here and there, which was pretty nice since I can use this to make bread. And in one of the trunks here, there was a recipe for something called simple and tasty. So I used it and see what it had. So I can now create something called a baked mushroom and baked apple. So it's mushroom on a stick and apple on a stick. And since we don't really have any source of energy right now, I just decided to sleep to recover our energy. Usually you will eat food in order to recover energy. But in this game, even if you constantly like eat stuff, you will get tired and it will drain your stamina. So you still need to sleep. And while I woke up, this ghost just appeared out of nowhere and asking who I was. So I told him I'm the new graveyard keeper here. Anyways, he was here to complain about a certain neighbor he has at their grave, and he would like me to do something about it. So in this game, in order to dig up a person that's already like buried, you'll need an exhumation process scroll, and I believe it costs like 1 silver and 75 bronze coins. But the ghost gave me one for free because he wants me to dig up something and, you know, put it away because he doesn't want that person as his neighbor. And so I did just that. So I grabbed this body using the exhumation permission, and while no one was looking, I threw it in the river. So now the ghost won't need to worry about a naughty or a bad neighbor. Suddenly, Gary came out from the bush out of nowhere. He asked me what I was doing here. I told him that a ghost wanted me to, you know, some other corpse. So Gary said, why should I listen to a ghost when he can't do anything to me? I should listen to Gary instead, because if ever I sleep, he can just like, you know, bite my neck and kill me because he's physical. So that's kind of scary, Gary. Anyways, Gary then told me about burning the corpse instead of like storing it in a river so I can get something like ash. But I'll think about what Gary said another day. For now, I need to figure out what I can do. So we have this building area right here where we can make a couple of stuff. But I don't really have anything that's interesting except for the furnace maybe. We'll need a couple of materials to start. Also, we have this technology tab right here where we can learn a bunch of new recipes. But we'll need like these orb things in order to unlock it. And to get orb things, we just need to do whatever we can in the game. So working like chopping or mining would give us the red things and sometimes the green things. I believe the green orbs come from like plant-related things or things that are alive. I'm not really sure. For example, digging up this little branch right here gave me red and green orbs. As for the blue orbs, I currently have no idea how to get it yet. For now, I just proceeded to clean the area. Once I had a couple of materials, it was now time to make a bunch of the stations that I can make. Like right here, I made the sawhorse. And because of the lack of food that I don't really have right now, each time I run out of energy, I just sleep it off to recover. And when I woke up, the ghost then visited me again. He said it is much nicer now at the graveyard without that person. Anyways, back to the sawhorse that I was making. I then hammered it down and boom, we have a sawhorse. And now that we have a sawhorse, we can now make wood belay and flitch. And with a wooden belay, I can now craft myself a chopping spot. And with this, we can make wedges and firewood. So yeah, we're progressing in the game. We can now make a bunch of new stuff. Since I had like a lot of energy and I didn't really know what to do, I just decided to chop a bunch of trees and also like dig a bunch of roots. So hey, if I ever need some wood, I have a lot already that I can work on. I then learned this technology that enables me to create a carpenter's table. And with a carpenter's workbench or the table, I can make some planks. Also, another thing I wanted here was to make the wood repair kit so I can continue repairing the graves at the graveyard. But I have one problem. I don't have nails. So we'll need to make something that enables us to make nails. So I just work with whatever I can. Currently, I'm making some wooden planks. Afterwards, I was so tired and have no more energy and food that I just slept. I had to get up though because I heard the bell from the donkey and we have a dead body right here where we can extract some meat. Yummy, right? So it's finally time to make use of all the meat that we've been gathering so far. After cutting it up, I then baked it. I will now have 4 pieces of this once it's done. It'll take a while so we can just leave it to cook. I decided to clean up the basement for now because I really have no idea what to do next. So yeah, cleaning the basement. Afterwards, I worked on clearing the path so we can talk to this person right here that's standing just besides the gate. But the moment I work on the path, he was like moving away and he is busy and we can't really talk to him anymore. So we have to wait for another day where he's gonna go there. Then we can talk to him again. Dang, I was too late. But actually, so yeah, the basement has a lot of pathings. This can lead to a shortcut in town. This can also lead a shortcut to the church and also the morgue. So the basement is pretty good. See here, this is the shortcut towards town. Awesome, right? Since I was here, I decided to grind my axe and my shovel because they were like rusty and I can't use them anymore. Also sold a couple of metals to the blacksmith that I have extra because I really wanted to buy the teleport stone that the tavern has. So I totally forgot I had the burial certificate. I actually didn't need to sell my metal. It would have worked out. But anyways, we now have the teleport stone. And with the teleport stone, we can instantly go home or come back to the dead horse. So it's very convenient. It's unlimited use. There's only a short cooldown on it, but that's fine. I then went to town and gathered a bunch of mushrooms. I was waiting for the blacksmith to come out of his house because there's something I wanted to buy. And after the blacksmith woke up, I then went to him because I needed some simple iron parts in order to make an anvil. And so upon returning home, I then crafted myself a wooden anvil. And with this anvil, I'm now capable of making some nails and simple iron parts. But I don't really have a furnace to make myself an iron bar. So we're gonna figure out how to make a furnace first, then we can continue doing this. For now, just north of my house, there is actually a little swamp looking area. And there are a lot of iron ores here that I can freely mine. So I of course mined everything as long as I have the energy to do so. I then teleported back to town and talked to the blacksmith. I needed to buy more simple iron parts from him. So the only choice I really have right now was to sell my iron ore in order to purchase like 4 pieces of those in order to make myself a furnace. Honestly, this trade costed me most of my iron ores, but finally I had 4 simple iron parts so I can make a furnace. So finally, we have a furnace. We have a source of iron bars, and we won't have any trouble looking for nails, iron parts, and complex iron parts now. There was one problem though. I ran out of iron supply and I don't know where to get some more. But well, that doesn't stop us from being productive. So I built myself another area or another station called the stone cutter. And with this, if ever I can find myself an iron ore vein, I can get a couple of iron ores from there. Also stones. Moving forward, I learned a couple of new technologies like making even better gravestones. So the better the gravestones are, the better or the more the quality it gives to the graveyard. Anyway, since I had like a lot of repair kits now for wood, I started fixing more of the graveyard so we can increase our quality. Almost forgot, I actually bought a beer for Gary. I bought it at the Dead Horse and I gave him a beer. It made him happy. It gave me like plus 20 points on his happiness meter. So he gave me an advice. He told me to not tell everyone around me that I came from another world and I'm the graveyard keeper. Because in this civilization, there's something called a witch hunt where they will burn you at a stake if they find you like weird, I guess. Anyways, I asked Gary how I can get home and he told me regarding a portal at the Witch Hill. So that's a point of interest we need to figure out. He also told me about a certain library under the church. So that's also another place of interest. And also a person called the Astrologer. He is a smart person and he may know the answer that we are looking for. He only comes to the lighthouse area whenever it is like a blue moon icon on the map. I'm not really sure what to call that day. But anyways, yeah, that's when the astrologer will come. For now, I focus my efforts on beautifying the graveyard. So we need to make some wooden grave fences so it looks pretty not empty. I also crafted myself a bunch of gravestones. These stones give like, I believe 2 quality. So that's pretty good. Next day, my furnace needed some fuel. And the best fuel currently that I am able to get is some firewood. So I made a bunch of wood billet. Or billet, how do you pronounce that? And after making the billet, we can chop them down to firewood. So yeah, fuel for our furnace. Honestly, did not expect that this process would be very long. I'm still chopping down firewood. It's already nighttime. And I already slept to recover energy. It's crazy. So yeah, whatever. At least we have a lot of fuel. Afterwards, I went back to the swamp thinking that iron ores respawn just like how trees grow again. But I was wrong. They don't respawn once you take them. So there's no more iron source up there. So I decided to journey a bit to look for some iron source. What I found instead is a tree with bees. So we can collect this to get some honey. And when you collect like honey from beehives, they damage you. They like sting you because you're like stealing their honey. I then found this abandoned place with a lot of these broken looking beehives. This is an apiary. So I just chop down the remains of these broken beehives and get the materials that I can. I eventually explored around my house and I found the garden, but I can't seem to use it yet because I need to have permission from the tavern owner. But I'm glad I found this place because this place has like 2 berry bushes and a couple of mushrooms that I can gather for food. I also work on fixing this hatch right here so the corpse will automatically slide inside so I don't need to carry them inside. The next day, I totally did not notice, but I had a water well here. And using this water well, I got myself a bucket of clear water. So in order to get water droplets that I need to make some dough, I gotta use this bucket of water. And here we have some water and now we can make dough. It's a lot of work, but after we're done making this dough, we can turn it into bread. And now we have a source of food to recover our energy. I can make about 28 pieces of bread. So yeah, awesome. We can now continuously work. We don't really need to sleep a lot, so we can continue working. Now we can just eat food. And crafted even more of these wooden grave fences so we can finally get that quality 5 soon. And after fixing most of the stuff at the graveyard, replacing the old broken ones, we now have a quality of 5. So once the bishop visits, we can tell him that we have a quality of 5. Let's go. The next day, I then unlock a couple of new things like making some glass, making an anvil, making new tools, also considering to get like weapons and armor. I then spent day 11 just mining down some rocks because I needed a lot of piece of stone. Also, the moment I returned home, Gary then popped out of nowhere screaming that the Inquisitor, he said that he spotted the Inquisitor to the path to the Witch Hill, so I really should pay this a visit. Gary is pretty scared that he will be killed when he's already dead and a skeleton. But anyways, yeah, let's investigate or go to the Witch Hill. So this guy right here is the Inquisitor. What is that voice? Anyways, I introduced myself to the Inquisitor, telling him that I am the graveyard keeper. He then asked me if I would like to join him on a witch burning ceremony. Of course, I agreed because I don't want to be the person that's going to be burned in the future. So this guy right here is the Great Inquisitor. He protects the one true faith and humanity itself. And he said that they're having a tough time at the town and the ship of the dead, whatever it is like fully loaded. So me being the graveyard keeper and the opening of the graveyard is pretty good. Anyways, this is the burning ceremony. They are burning a witch. There's not really much crowd here. It's not really that popular. They've been killing off a lot of people whom they deem to be witches. So yeah, crazy. So I really shouldn't get on this guy's bad side. Anyways, he said a friend of his is a friend of the Holy Inquisition. And he then asked me if I wanted to be his friend. I of course agreed because I don't want to be burned at the stake. It's a pleasure to be his friend for sure. Anyways, the Inquisitor will be here at the Witch Hill every time it's this symbol right here on the day. So we can visit him anytime we want. Not like I want to though, but yeah. After talking to him, I then explored the area. There seems to be like an ancient technology at the center of it. So there's a couple of burned house here with some flowers and a grave. Also found a vineyard, or do you call it a vineyard here? So yeah, pretty interesting place. I think we can plant some grapes here in the future. Since it was the blue symbol today, I decided to go to wherever there is a lighthouse. So I tried searching all over the town. So I'm not really sure where, so I just followed the path. Then I found this crazy old man here. I'm not really sure what's up with this old man, but he has someone he's talking to that I can't see. Understand what? I don't really know. But anyways, this guy gave me a quest to bring him some honey and he will teach me how to make a cake. So I need to bring him like 5 honey pots. I eventually found my way towards where the lighthouse is, and this we have spoken with the astrologer. I then introduced myself as the new graveyard keeper and then asked him if he could help me. He wanted me to bring him a skull first before he would help me. I questioned him if he is asking for Gary, the talking skeleton head, but no, he just wanted a normal skeleton, which we can easily get by doing an autopsy on our next dead body that the donkey will give us. We'll need to learn this skill though so we can extract some skulls. Next up, I spoken to this other guy right here who looked like a fisherman. So we talk about fishing and he said that he would give me his old fishing rod if I catch him like 5 or was it 6 moths. So sure, we'll get a fishing rod once we've captured like 6 moths. So that's pretty interesting and something to look forward to. Not only that, he also taught me how to cook fish. So we have fish soup, baked fish, and fish nuggets. Anyways, after getting home, I then continued working on my graveyard because tomorrow the bishop will be coming and I want the graveyard to look as good as he expects. Next day, it's finally time to report to the bishop that we have fixed the graveyard. Let's go. He then pronounced me as an official keeper and I can now make use of the church. So every time it's the purple day, we can give sermon to the people who would like to visit this church. So the bishop told me that I can just speak the words or basically just say whatever I want and then, you know, that's it. And because of this, we now have a new perk called the preacher. We can now preach the words of the church. So let's try this out using a casual prayer taught to us by the bishop. Well, good enough, right? And with that, I gained like 3 faith. Anyways, after talking to the bishop, I then got a blueprint for a study table. I can also gather old books. Then I have a perk of a curious mind, which gives me like a story each time I try to study something. So we finally have access to the basement of the church. So there are a couple of things here and there at the storage here. There's a recipe for a speed potion as well. So I made sure to learn this. Now we can create a speed potion. The stuff down here are mostly broken, but they can be recycled. So that's what I did. Also, there's a station here called the study table and we can study stuff, and by studying stuff we can earn a bunch of the either red, green orbs, and we can also learn about another purpose of an item. Sadly, we lack something called science and we can't really study anything right now, so yeah. So in order to get science, we'll need to get paper. So I learned this recipe or technology for paper crafting. I then made myself an anvil, a way better anvil than the wooden anvil that we already have. So the new thing we can craft with the new anvil is the complex iron parts. Also, we can make better tools with this anvil, so pretty excited to get the materials to make the tools. So I will of course make all of this. So we have the axe, the shovel, and the pickaxe. Currently we're wearing, I believe, some rusty axe, shovel, and pickaxe. Next day, after waking up from bed, there was a sudden person inside my house. Like, what? He then said sorry for the intrusion and he said he is not a thief. He said he escaped from prison like days ago. Well, I'm not really sure what he's doing here. Anyways, he introduced himself as a Marquise, one of those nobles. So his full name is Marquise Teodoro Jr. And he and his friends were sentenced to the fire by the Inquisition. And he's trying to ask help from us because we know something that they don't. Anyways, I followed him to where the refugees are taking their camp. And as you can see, it's a pretty poor condition. So what this guy wanted from us is our ability to survive. Because they're from a noble bloodline, they don't really know how to live in the wild. And it's up to us to gather food and water for them, or make them a well, or make them a tent, or make everything so they can live. I also spoke with a former Inquisitor here called Master Alric. He currently has like really bad hearing, so we gotta scream. Yes, make it capital so it seems like we're shouting. Of course. I then explained to him what I do as a graveyard keeper. After that, I just left. So in order to craft stuff like tents and wells, I need to make the refugees happy. And in order to do that, I must provide them with water and food. So yeah, that's a lot of responsibility on me, but he said he will pay me, so sure, I will do this. I then noticed that there was a broken bridge towards another area of the map. And I just need a wooden plank and some nails and I can repair this. So yeah, that's gonna be one of my goals. Because honestly, I'm just looking for a source of iron right now. So with iron, we can like make nails or something. The next day, I then went to the blacksmith to sell my old tools. I didn't really need them anymore since I have improved ones. Also, since we really can't find iron, I just bought myself some iron ingots so I can make nails. It's way cheaper to just make the nails than buy the nails themselves. Or that's what I thought. I'm not really sure, but I believe it is. I then talked to our friend Donkey right here, and he's pretty angry now that we own the graveyard. He said that I'm a true capitalist now, and he is not like him, which is working for someone. He even complained that we are benefiting from his cheap labor. Oh my god, this donkey. So he gave me a little present, which is poop. Yeah, amazing. What a nice donkey. Oh, it makes me slide though. It's like ice skating, but with poop. Anyways, on this dead body, I extracted a skull since the astronomer needs me to give him a skull. So there's this mechanic of a red and white skull here. So the more red we have, the more negative quality we'll get on our graveyard. So usually I just throw those bodies in the river or something. Anyways, if you extract the right material, it will remove the red skulls. And most of the time, if I remove blood, it usually takes like one of the red skulls. The next day, the blacksmith then visited me. He told me that there was an emergency going on in town right now and everyone is being called to the tavern because vampires are in the village, they said. So yeah, we gotta go to the tavern. So basically, there was 3 victims of this vampire attack. Shane, the farmer's son, and Rose. But instead of like discussing whatever we should be doing, some people were just advertising their shops or something. After the meeting though, Horatic then asked me to investigate the stuff regarding the vampire. Told him I would agree, but he needs to pay me because I'm pretty busy myself. And while I was here, I then asked Horatic regarding the garden that we have seen in our home so we can make use of it. He said it was seized by the merchant, but he can give me permission to use it. So yeah, finally we can use the garden. Also, this is the path towards the town, but since we don't have a town pass, we can't really go through. So the last thing I need to do here in this town is to buy like a metal ingot so I can make some nails. The last metal ingot I bought, I actually used it to make more tools. While I was on my way to fix the bridge, Bruce Lee right here decided to confront me that I am a vampire. He made me eat some garlic just to prove that I wasn't a vampire. What choice did I have? I did not want to fight this guy. It's a waste of time, so I just ate all the garlic. And the last thing he wanted me to do was put a wooden stake in my heart, but that would kill me, so I actually didn't do it. Anyways, I convinced this guy that I will investigate regarding the vampire and I will find the vampire myself. And if not, then he can put the wooden stake in my heart. Alright, so back to the bridge. It's time to fix this with the nails that we have recently made. So in this other area, there was a fishing spot here. There was also a spot to shovel up some river sands. So cool. There was also a bunch of flowers, which I picked up because flowers, you can eat them and it gives like 3 energy each. But basically it's 1 because, you know, you use 2 energy to pick like a flower. So yeah. I found a lot of iron ores here though, so that made me happy. Now we can start making some iron ingots again. There was honestly a lot here scattered all over the place. And by the time that morning came, I already collected a huge amount of iron ores. This place was honestly like a maze to reach the center, but good thing there's something that we can do to make like a bridge here for a shortcut. But I did not have the materials right now to do it. So in this place, the swamp, there was a witch or a witch doctor that lives here. I look more like a witch or a fairy princess. I don't know what to say. A fairy princess. Then you can be my prince. Situation of this fairy princess right now is that she has forgotten her memories. But she made a note for herself to make a certain potion that will make her remember. But she'll need a cauldron to do that, and we'll need to find a way to get our hands on a cauldron. Anyways, by speaking with this fairy princess, we now learned how to make some alchemy workbench, hand mixer, and an alchemy mill. And since I picked up a lot of flowers, I then place it in the refugee tent so they can eat the flowers. That should make them happy. The next day, I went back to town because I needed to speak with astrologer. I now have the skull that he needed. And now that I gave him the skull, I then asked about a portal at the Witch Hill. So the astronomer used to have a graveyard keeper friend. He suddenly disappeared and he hasn't spoken with him since. But he knew about the portal. He then mentioned about the graveyard keeper finding a way to activate it. And it should be in his diary. And I need to look for it. So he gave me like a key and it will open up a metal gate in the northern part of the church cellar. Basically where we saw the man standing around the gate. And once we get like the diary from beyond the gate, we can give it back to the astrologer and he'll figure things out. Anyways, upon going home, I then process all my iron ores into ingots. I also checked out the garden because I wanted to see how it works. I didn't really have any seed right now, but I just wanted to try it out. Actually, I had some seeds. The donkey's poop contained like 12 pieces of carrot seeds. So yeah, we can plant these and grow carrots. So yeah, it was an actual good gift from the donkey. The next day, I then spoke with the donkey again, and he is currently on a strike, and he won't bring corpse anymore unless I listen to his demand. And one of his demand was to give him some oil so we can put grease on the wheels because it's been creaking a lot. And he also demanded a day off on the day when the bishop comes to the church. Aside from that, he will now be requesting like 5 carrots per corpse in the future. I then spoke with the bishop since he was here today, and he had given me a task of making like 20 bowls. He also gave me a cleric's beginner guide to get started with this and earn our very first blue orbs. We'll learn how to gather some sand and some clay. So with this, we can make some bowls. Anyway, it's time for our weekly sermon because, you know, we need faith to study stuff. I really need to improve my church because there's only like 2 seats here and there's not much people because there's not much seats. So let's improve our quality next time. After giving the sermon and then proceeded to gather a bunch of clay so I can start making those bowls. And in order for us to make the bowls, we need to have a potter's wheel. And with the potter's wheel, yes, finally, we can make the bowls. Also, now that we had some clay, we can continue making those stone repair kits. So I finished off repairing everything in my grave and now the quality is around 10. Actually, make that 11 because I changed the gravestone on this one. Then talked to a person called Miss Charm in the Dead Tavern, but she did not want to speak to me unless I have a lot of faith with me. Basically, she's asking like 5 faith before I can talk to her. So I instead had a conversation with this man right here. He is a well-known poet in town and he had a request for us. He wanted us to provide him with some paper and ink. So I said sure. I then encountered this rich-looking dude with his fur coat and he requested me like 5 pieces of silver quality fish fillet. And I have no way of getting those right now because I don't even have a fishing rod. I also met a woodcutter right here who was looking for like a good axe. And since I have like an axe tier 1 that I made before, I can give him that axe and he will give me a recipe. So I gave him my axe and he gave me some recipe for cooking. So we can now make some lasagna and pasta. So the next day I had to make myself another axe because I gave the only one I had yesterday. Afterwards, I headed to town and spoke with the merchant right here. He is the owner of the garden. Currently, he has a problem having hiccups, so I had the option to scare him. So I tried it out. Why not? I'm not sure if that worked, but anyways, I think he was mad or something. Anyways, I discussed about him about the garden and he flexed that it costed him only little. So he's asking me for like 10 gold for it. I don't really have the 10 gold to pay him or not even less than that. So instead, he asked me to deliver a batch of carrots, cabbage, and beets. I mean, what choice did I have? Like, I needed that garden to grow some crops, and that's the only garden I have, and it's not mine, so sure. He then asked if I had some hiccup grass. I do, but I left it at home, so I'll come back with it. So checking whatever the merchant was selling, he sells silk, some grape seeds, and some high quality food and jewelries. But I'm too poor to even afford those, so yeah. And looking at the garden, my carrots are already ready for harvest. Has it been long already? I'm not really sure. I don't remember when I planted these. So harvesting the carrot earned me a couple of seeds back. I also really need to make a storage here so I can keep the seeds and the crops here. And so that's what I did. I grabbed the materials and now we have a storage for our crops. The next thing I did was gave the donkey the carrots, but he is not satisfied yet. He won't be delivering any dead bodies anytime soon unless I gave him the oil that he needs for his wheels. For now though, I went to the wheat field to look for wherever the house of the farmer was because I wanted to buy more seeds. It also taught me a bit of cooking recipes, so that's pretty good. I couldn't really afford a lot of seeds, so I just bought a couple that I can make use of. At the very least, we have some. I then had a realization of how poor I am and I really need to find a source of money soon. Moving on, now that we have the key, I wanted to speak with Snake right here. So this is the name of this guy right here. We haven't really introduced ourselves yet, so I told him I'm the graveyard keeper and he actually didn't want me being here. I did not have enough faith to convince him and I still don't have the proper key to give him to open the cellar. So I threatened him with my sword. But yeah, I got scared along the way because he looks more menacing than I do. So I actually need faith in order to convince him. So we'll need to wait for the church day again so we can have some faith. And so for now, I just focus on working on random things like selling stuff to the blacksmith so I can have gold and buying even more seed from the farmer so we can plant some more, giving us an unlimited amount of energy supply once the produce are fully grown. It is a lot of work, but it would be all worth it at the end, and we will have a lot of food source. I then gave the crazy old man the honey that he wanted, and now I learned how to make some cake. Let's go. Afterwards, I sold more stuff to the blacksmith because, you know, money is power in this game. We can buy more seeds with this. Also, the crazy old dude actually sells something called a hemp seed, and a hemp seed is used to make some hemp rope. I also bought myself a seed oil to make the donkey happy. So now with this, he can continue giving us some dead corpses as long as we provide 5 carrot each day for it to eat. For this body though, I have rested everything and its only remaining skull is the red one, so I just threw it at the river. I didn't want any bad spirits in my graveyard right now because I wanted more quality. I then visited the refugee camp. It's been a while since I last visited them and it seems like the amount of flowers and water I gave them made them happy, so now I have the max amount of happiness. I can't craft anything here for them yet though, but my primary focus should be the water well so I don't need to keep giving them water. Currently, I've been needing a bunch of paper to get some science. So the main material to make paper right now would be the bat wings. About I think 5 or 10 pieces of bat wings produces like a pigskin paper, which then produces like 4 papers each of 1 pigskin paper. So the swamp close to home actually spawns some bats, so this is a pretty good hunting ground every night. So finally, it's sermon day or the chapel day. We can finally get some faith in order to talk to the snake guy. Hopefully we get like 5 faith though. So I gave the bishop the bowls he was requesting and now he gave me a cleric's beginner guide. He then handed me out my next task, which would be to get a quality of like 30 in the graveyard and reach 20 in the church. So using the cleric's beginner guide, I got myself like 5 of the blue orbs. So finally, we can learn something that required blue orbs, but I'm not really sure what to learn. I decided to go for learning gathering of bugs because we really needed the moth in order to get a fishing rod. So currently my priority is to improve the church quality so I can get more faith. I also like to venture near the refugee as there are many trees with bees so I can get some honeys. Next day, most of my crops were already ready for harvest. Also, I started to extract skins from the body because I need the skin to make myself an armor. And for the cake that the old man, the crazy old dude, the recipe he gave us, it actually gives an effect of like giving us extra points when studying new items. So if ever we use the study, we should eat cake to get those extra points, more blue points. I wanted to see if I could grab a couple of apples or produce here, but yeah, it doesn't work. But I can grab the berries though. I then continued questioning people regarding the vampire. Since Erratic wanted me to investigate this, I need to do it so I can make him happy. And when he's happy, we can unlock more stuff to buy at his shop. Next thing I did was go to the merchant and gave him the hiccup grass that he wanted. But the moment he ate it, he has lost his sense of taste. So now he wants me to find an old fortune teller to cure his no-taste tongue. Just basically Clotho, the witch that we have met at the swamp. I then showed him all the vegetables that I have made at the garden that I've been using on his property. Anyways, for my next quest on the merchant, he wanted me to get myself a trade license, which can be bought by a box besides the church. And I believe it was 5 silver, or was it 50? I then visited Snake again because now I had enough faith to convince him. So he said I'm useless and also harmless, so I can help him open this gate. So he gave me these instructions for the key. I need to use it in the study in order to make the key that I have be usable to open that gate. And guess what? In order to proceed with this quest, we'll need more faith in order to study this, as well as the science that I've always wanted to get. So I took a look at how I can make the stations here at the cellar of the church. So I started making more stations here so I can start doing whatever I can inside here. Most importantly, this thing right here called the church workbench. Because with this, we can now make paper using bat skin or human skin. And since it was a day that the Inquisition will go to the Witch Hill, I went here and visited our friend. He wanted me to aid in the Holy Inquisition, so he has given me a task to collect about 20 firewood and a bunch of flyers for the advertisement so we can get people to watch the burning of the witch. So that's something I need to look forward to give him so we can watch him burn the witch, hopefully not us in the future. Anyways, I continued hunting the bats that spawned near my home because I needed paper. The human skins can be used too, but I'm planning to use it to make an armor, so I'm not using it to make paper. Bats also spawn along the road towards where we get like honeys. Or at least we have a source of paper. Nothing much really stood out on day 30. I just harvested the crops that I planted and also made a couple of materials. As for my church, I built a couple of church benches. This will surely increase the quality of my church. Well, not by a lot, but at the very least, I get about 4 faith per sermon now. I really should improve this more. I believe before I can only get like 2 or 3, but now we get 4. Also, hemp ropes are pretty great because when you make a hemp rope, you actually get blue orbs because of this. Only 1 though, but it helps since it's pretty rare. And now that we have paper on hand, I can now turn this into science. And with science, I can now start researching stuff. I totally forgot to bake and eat cake, but whatever. I just wanted to try how many points I can get with this. And oh my god, that's a lot! I then teleported to the dead horse because I remembered that I had a quest to give this person some paper. I still don't have the ink though, so we can't really complete this quest yet. I then continued my investigation regarding the vampire. So basically, she said that the vampire lured her inside a barn, imitating a pregnant cow's sound. I don't know how it sounds like, but maybe moo or something. But she said once the vampire like drank her blood, it spat it out like because she has like blood type B or something. I don't know what's wrong with blood type B. Maybe the vampire doesn't like it. And I also purchased some milk from her because I needed the milk to make like pastry dough. Because with pastry dough, we can make cake. For day 32, I decided to work on my graveyard because I swear to god I haven't been tending this ever since I got the approval of the bishop. I also built up a couple of candle barrels in order to increase the amount of quality that my church has. I then went to the crazy old man to buy more hemp seeds because making hemp ropes gives me like blue orbs and I really need blue orbs. I then make myself some cake, so if ever we want to study, we can have this cake to get some extra points. And I totally forgot, but I actually already gathered a bunch of moth and gave it to the guy who wanted the moths at the astrologer area. And now I have a fishing rod. As you can see here, fishing is pretty hard, or I'm just bad. But hey, I caught one. Let's go. And while exploring around, looky what I found. So it's like some place where I can mine. This is actually a coal deposit. It gives way more fire than the firewood that we give to our furnace. So I guess I can frequent here to gather more coal and use this as fuel instead. I also found a little house right here, and it seems like I can sleep here. So wow, so this place is actually called the quarry. And we can also instantly teleport here, which is great. So we can just come here if ever we need some iron blocks or stone blocks. There's a bunch of sources here because the iron vein, stone vein, marbles are available here. We can basically convert this large chunk of iron into 5 pieces of iron ore. So that's pretty great. And so I then built a couple of stations here at the quarry so I can convert all the iron blocks into iron ores. I grinded here for a bit to grab a couple of iron ores before heading home. This is the process. You just mine the chunk, place it in the stockpile, and then process it to iron ore. So this thing right here called the carrot cutlet is gonna be our main source of energy. It's gonna provide us with so much energy, and it's very easy to make. It just takes carrot. Also, I have made a new station at base. So now we have something called a circular saw. And with this, we can make wooden beams. And with wooden beams, we can finally clear areas underneath the church cellar and underneath our house. So yeah, I worked on it. And now we have easy access towards our church cellar. Also, this pathing right here, so we have easy access to the shortcut towards town, but we can also just use our teleporter. Anyways, I then bought a bottle of ink from the astrologer, and now I have finished this quest with this guy right here. He then told me that he can write me some silver stories for a silver bottle of wine. So yeah, these stories are gonna be useful later if we want to have our sermons improved. I then decided to make another furnace because currently my only one is occupied with making iron bars. So I have improved the quality of my church and it is now 17. And just take a look at how much faith I'll be getting out of all the people here. Well, spoiler alert, it's around 5. Way better than before. And using the recently gained faith, I have researched the key. So now all we need to do is wait for the green day so we can talk to Snake and open the gate. And since I still had some faith remaining, I decided to eat some cake and study. I earned quite a bit of blue orbs with this, so I'm pretty happy with this study session. I then decided to learn how to make better gravestones. This would surely help the quality of our graveyard. Afterwards, I explored the area for some available stones in the surrounding because I plan to make those graveyard stones. So this is when I discovered that crafting stone fences gives you blue orbs. About 5. So this is honestly a game changer. So it's not only study, but we can get some orbs through crafting. Of course, I did not waste the graveyard fences. I changed most of the wooden ones and the empty ones and added them some stone graveyard fences. I'm not done yet, but I did increase the quality to 24. And so I continued my hunt for pieces of stone because, you know, I would like a lot of blue orbs so I can learn a lot of new technologies. And then I discovered this giant stone pile. It actually produces like a block of stone, which can be converted into 5 pieces of stone. So this is handy. I only carry like 1 giant rock at a time, but I'm being smart here. So I'm just gonna push this thing towards my base while I carry 1. And so whenever I'm in need of blue orbs, I just grind some stone and craft more grave fences. Then went to the quarry to collect a bunch of coal because my furnaces doesn't have any more fuel. Afterwards, since it was a green day, it was now time to talk to this snake guy and I gave him the key. Anyways, while I was just looking around, I stepped on this fire thing and I I died. This is my first death in the game. So hey, at least we respawn and we can continue our progress. So I went back to the place like nothing ever happened. Snake actually saw what happened and he was just amazed how I'm immortal. And he was kind of bitter about it too. You're such a useless idiot, yet you're immortal. That's totally not fair. Truly, truly. I then looked around the place and I found a person in chains. Or yeah, a zombie basically. This zombie was pretty weird because he wanted me to hit him. I mean, what? Alright. Anyways, after hitting him, he was then happy to answer any question I wanted to ask him with. So this guy is Gunther, and he is an undead person or a zombie. He was one of the weird variants because he turned out to be a smart zombie. Anyways, he told me about his brothers or other zombies that we can possibly make work for us. So basically, we can now have labor for free in our base. We just need to make a lot of zombies using corpses. So to make a zombie, we need to have a certain potion to have the corpse drink. But sadly, this guy doesn't have the complete formula. I did, however, get a recipe for a resurrection table. So yeah, we can resurrect zombies now. So since I was immortal, Snake had an idea that I should be the one exploring the dungeon since I don't totally die. He gave me a quest to collect a bucket of blood and also 5 bloody nails. As you can see here, this place, since it is a dungeon, is infested with monsters. And to get to the next area, we need to find the stairs that leads to the next area. Also, we need to kill all the monsters that is in the floor. Not only am I able to loot monster drops, but I can also loot some scraps that are dropped from the jars and the boxes down here. And so after reaching floor 2, I decided to stop for the day because I don't have any more HP and energy. I then made a 3rd furnace because 2 wasn't enough. Then went to town and sold a couple of my old equipments to the blacksmith. Totally forgot, but Gunther mentioned about a certain rock where his brothers might be inside. And so I dug up the rock and suddenly I learned how to make a sawmill. Zombie wood cutting, it said. And there was a zombie on the floor. So I guess I grabbed one of the zombies inside the rock. There was one more, so I continued removing the rock. And I got like 2 zombies with this. Cool. So actually, we can make these guys work. Not really sure what to do with them yet, so I decided to just store them inside my morgue. I then talked to the astrologer and gave him the diary. He then told me in order to activate the portal at the Witch Hill, I need to craft something called a spirit laser. And in order to craft it, I need something like an emitter, which requires the mirror of pride, the eternal burning coal, and the salty fork. Also, he couldn't really read the entire diary. He'll need some acid and restoration tools first before he can take a look at the rest of the diary. So for the acid, I'll need to talk to the witch at the swamp or buy it from her. As for the restoration tool, we need to find out where we can get it through the town. And since I wanted to increase the quality of the church, I crafted myself some candles to put at the candelabra. It should have been obvious to me though that using candles would actually consume it and it will disappear after a day. So this was a pretty dumb move from me. But at least I know now that it can increase our quality of the church. I should only use this on a day where we can give sermon, so it will boost the amount of faith and money that we get. I then started learning structures that the zombie can work in, like the zombie sawmill and the zombie ore veins. I also learned a perk called Gentle Butcherer because I plan to increase the quality of my graveyard and I need to be very careful on extracting meat, blood, and other stuff from dead bodies so they don't build up on the red skulls. I then crafted myself an alchemy rack and also a scroll shelf. This is where our scrolls will go, and for the alchemy rack, all that is alchemy related. I then removed the block from going to the morgue to the church cellar. So now we have more easy access from our morgue to the church cellar. Honestly, I'm just going left and right, just fixing things and removing blocks. So since we fixed this, whenever a donkey like delivers its body, they will just slide inside. We don't need to bring it inside anymore. I also built a couple of things at the morgue, like another preparation table. I thought it was a different thing, but it was actually the same thing that we already have. And the resurrection table, where we're gonna resurrect a corpse and turn them into a zombie slave. Okay, so it's now time to make use of this zombie. I'm not really sure how it works, but let me just drag this one. So as far as I remember, you basically just need to make the zombie structure or the zombie area where they're gonna work, like this one right here. And then you put it there, and look, it's already chopping down some tree. But as you can see, the progress is very slow, but at least it's automatic. We don't need to chop trees anymore. We just need the zombie to chop it for us. But we will need like another zombie to transfer the wood that it cuts. It cuts towards our base. I also finish up the one at the mines, so now they can mine for us. I wanted some zombies, so I visited Gunther again. But yeah, he really doesn't remember the ingredients. But I searched up in this broken area right here, and I got myself 3 zombie juice. As I visited my morgue, there was this weird corpse that was moving around. What? I thought it'd be a zombie that would give us like additional helping hands, but it was this guy right here. So this guy's name is Yorick, and he seems to have bought a keeper's book from a creepy man with a scar. So I guess it's the dude that appears at the Green Day Snake. So he's looking for a secret area in our morgue. So he needs me to provide him with a key, and the only clue he has is it's on a skull of a talking skeleton. So I talked to Gary right here, but instead of telling him that there might be a key on his head, I decided to fool him and tell him that I can clean him up. But I decided to put it on hold for now because I wanted to earn more of the blue orbs. So I crafted a bunch of the stone grave fences. Honestly, the zombies that are working in the mines are pretty slow compared to the one that is like chopping the giant tree. I then worked on increasing the quality of my church. I recently learned a few new blueprints to improve my church. So here we have a little church shrine that gives like +5 in the quality, and also a confessional booth that gives +5. The next day I talked to the bishop, and he's pretty happy of the results that I have made here. So he is no longer disgusted in being here. So the only problem now is the quality of the church. So I finished up the confessional booth that I did not finish yesterday because I was out of energy, and talked to the priest. So the only thing left now is to give him like 3 quality fishes, and we will be done with his quest. The amount of faith that I get now with our new and improved in the quality of our church is about 7 faith. That's an improvement. Last time we only get like 5. Now we get 7 per week. So that's pretty good. One of the things I keep doing is like buying and restocking a lot of carrot seeds. Not only is this a great source of food and they're very easy to make, it can also be paid to the donkeys to give us more bodies. I then visited my zombie that was chopping a tree, and it seems its storage area was full already. So I really need a zombie porter to deliver all this wood to my base. So for now, I just had him deliver the wood because, well, he doesn't really need to chop anymore. I then decided to grind some blue orbs because there's a lot of technology that I really wanted to learn. Also, I wanted to learn a lot of perks. I then worked on crafting a bunch of these lanterns. So they're gonna be something that will help our zombies towards our base when it's nighttime. And this is what it looks like at nighttime. So yeah, it's gonna be very helpful for our porter zombies. Afterwards, I just continued gathering a lot of stone because I really want those blue orbs. There are a lot of perks that I can learn once I get those blue orbs. And now that I have enough faith collected from doing all the sermons, I can now resurrect or make a zombie. Let's go. So I guess it was that simple. You just need the fate and the zombie juice, and now we have another worker. So I'm gonna make this one the porter of our wood farm. And with this, our wood farm is complete, and we will have unlimited supplies of wood in our base. I will never have to worry about wood ever again. I then crafted myself a lot of wooden beams. I wanted to sell this to the merchant in town, so let's see how it goes. And upon visiting the merchant, I can't sell it yet because I'm not at the tier where I can sell wooden beams yet. So what can I do? Dang, I gotta increase my relationship with this guy. So for now, I sold some flitch. Hopefully it will unlock tier 2. I then went to the Dead Horse Tavern and asked more questions regarding the vampire. I wanted to ask Miss Chain right here, but she had a fight with Horadic and she wouldn't tell me unless Horadic apologizes to her. It was now time to actually craft a lot of the grave fences and then earn a lot of the blue points. As for the excess amount of stone graves that I make, I just destroy them. I don't really have any use for them because there's just too many. I totally forgot to clean Jerry, so now that we have some river sand and water, it's time to clean him up. He liked our service very much, and we also like doing this because now we have the key that is needed to unlock the new area. Gave it to the man, and now he opened up the next area for us. So it looks pretty dirty. There are so many curious things here that I don't really understand. And so I started cleaning up the place. I was curious what I can get here, but most of the items here are just broken glass. Not really sure what this ore is, but I can't mine it yet. Maybe in the future once we upgrade our pickaxe or get the gathering skill. Yurik was then curious about this box that we see here, and he really could not resist but opened this box, even if it said to not open it. And just look at what popped out. It was a ghost. And since it didn't have a name, we'll be calling it Smiler. And because of this encounter, we have learned a new blueprint called Soul Container and a workbench for the soul, I guess. We have unlocked a brand new technology tree called Spiritualism. I'm not entirely sure how this part works, but it's not really a priority right now. Anyways, I asked Smiler if he could answer my question, but before he would, he wanted to eat some berry pie first. So we'll need to bake him a berry pie and then he'll answer our questions. I then made myself a lot of flitch and sold it to Tress, the carpenter guy or the wood merchant, because I really wanted to unlock tier 2 so I could start selling him some wooden beams. And so after selling all my flitch, as you can see, it says that the vendor will unlock the new tiers of items tomorrow. And look at this. Now that we have increased our tier, we can sell all our wooden beam. But I have one small problem though. The merchant didn't have enough money to buy all my wooden beams. So that's kinda disappointing. I was excited to get a lot of silver. Merchant's money actually increases every day, I believe. But yeah, let's just come back here. We can continuously sell him like wooden beams whenever it's available. I mean, it's always available because we have a zombie that keeps getting us some wood. So it's basically free money. I then crafted myself some new tools. The shovel 2, the axe 2, the pickaxe 2, and an iron hammer. And the next day I went to the quarry because my iron ores were running out. I've been making a lot of complex iron parts and now it's time to get more so we can sell more to the merchants. In my garden, I made something called a compost heap, and what it does is it produces heaps and maggots using some crop waste that we get after harvesting our plants. Anyways, I've gathered enough faith again and now we can make yet another zombie. And for this zombie, I'm gonna put it to the quarry. So we will have 2 zombies that's mining ores. The mining part is very slow, but worry not, there's 2 of them now. So the only thing remaining here is the porter. So it can deliver all the stones, coal, and charcoal that it mines. So in order to increase my relationship with the blacksmith, I started selling a bunch of low quality metal materials like the simple iron parts, the nails, and even some iron ingots. So I kept making more so I can sell to the blacksmith. I needed to increase my relationship with him so I can sell him my old tools. Also, I totally forgot, but I had a quest with Snake right here regarding getting a stamp. Instead of buying a stamp for 30 silver, which is very expensive, I bet Snake can get us one, but we need to increase our relationship with him first. Meaning we gotta get the bucket of blood and bloody nails that he is requesting that is obtained from the dungeon. As for the restoration tool that the astrologer needs, he needs about 40 happiness, and I'm not sure how I can make this guy happy. Anyways, it's time to dive the dungeon again. There wasn't really anything new here, it's just a couple of bats and slimes. Anyways, back to my selling of stuff to the blacksmith, and as you can see here, I have taken all of the blacksmith's coins, but I'm not even close to reaching tier 2 in relationship with him. So this is gonna take a while, so I will be frequenting the blacksmith almost every day to sell stuff. I then continued raiding the dungeon, and this time there is a new enemy. It's a bunch of flies that are very easy to kill, just a slash of my sword. They drop a couple of powders though, really random. Life, health, order, toxic, chaos powders. I'm not really sure what they are for right now, but I'm pretty sure it's related to alchemy. After reaching floor 4, I encountered a new enemy. It looked like a person that's like fully armored. And finally, I got the quest item that Snake needed, some bloody nails. So those new creatures that I recently fought is the monster that would drop the items that we need. I almost died down here, but it's not like we really die. Anyways, I can't really do anything down there anymore, so it's time to go home. One of the rewards I got from the dungeon are occasional seeds that they give. So now I have some silver-starred lentil seeds that I planted in my garden. On this day, finally, I had the money to buy myself a building permission. It was about 20 silver, but at least we have completed this bishop's quest, and now our church has improved. So the church is now way bigger than before. We can add even more stuff inside it. And so for our next quest with a bishop, we'll need to have like 50 church quality and 800 graveyard quality. That's too crazy. But actually, the bishop said we only need to take 200. But still, that's a lot. We need more dead bodies in this graveyard so we can continuously grow the amount of quality we have. Afterwards, I just built a lot of stone grave fences again so I can obtain the blue orbs. As you can see, I'm just spamming the heck out of this. I can also convert the stone fences back to stone, but it's only one piece. So I feel like it's not worth it. It's better to just destroy it and mine more stones. At least with that, I can get some red orbs. And with all these blue orbs, I can get even more perks that will boost my productivity. Also, I have learned a new recipe called Gravestone number 2. This also gives me like blue orbs, and it's really good because I can now swap my old gravestones onto this one. This one would give more of the quality. I then crafted the bucket of blood that Snake needed. I already have all the nails that he wants, so I just need to give him all the quest item and can make him happy, and we can get the stamp and other stuff. After giving him everything, he actually had plans for these items. So he wanted to summon something. So he worded the magic word, or spoke the magic word, and let's see what happens. I wonder what he will summon. Oro Chiquino Aperino. He summoned a chicken. What? Maybe this thing is a demonic chicken. We'll never know, but we'll find out soon enough, right? I then crafted myself something called a vine press. So we can make a pail of berry, grape, or apple juice as long as we have the fruits. Right now, I don't really have any of those. We can also make oil with this, with fat, and seed oil with seeds. So with the stamp that Snake gave us, I can now package my meat and sell this package to the tavern. I was kinda hoping that the meat would be expensive, but it was actually pretty cheap. I guess it's better to just eat it and maybe sell wood and metal instead. I then crafted a couple of things in my house, but when I did, it felt like nothing changed, or I just did not notice. Also, I totally forgot that I had a body waiting. Its quality is now 1%, so I'm guessing it doesn't go to 0 or something. So since we forgot about this, I'm gonna extract everything and just throw this in the river. I then sold a couple of produce at the farmer so I can unlock its tier 2 items. Just wanted to see what kind of other seeds we can buy from this farmer. I then went to the word merchant and sold even more beams, and dang, this merchant doesn't have money to buy all of it. All their money from this point on. Alright, totally forgot. I now had the town pass, so I can continue trying to see what the town has to offer. But the moment I stepped into the area, I got struck by lightning and died. Even Gary questioned it. It seems I was struck by a higher power and they did not want me going out of this place. So currently, I guess the town is off limits for us. We're stuck in here. So our only hope of getting the items we need at the town is through Snake. Anyways, I got a couple of new recipes here at my graveyard. I can now make lawns, flower beds, and it increases the quality as well. So this is a pretty good filler. If ever we don't have any bodies to bury, then we can make use of this. While I was in town, I noticed that the blacksmith also buys firewood. So yeah, it's time to sell him a bunch of firewood. Forgot to mention, but sometimes the confessional have people inside and they would like to confess their stuff to you. So we get fate and a story. So it's a pretty good deal to check the church every now and then. I then sold a whole bunch of firewood to the blacksmith. I actually didn't know that there was a limit to this. So now they have no more value. So I instead just used it on my furnace as fuel. Also, I'm back again with my shenanigan of getting a lot of blue orbs. This is the fastest way I could think of. Just mining a lot of stones and then making them into gravestone. Also, we got a new worker. Finally, we have a porter for the quarry. So this is my last zombie juice that was provided for free. So now we can't really make any more zombie unless we figure out how to make more zombie juice. Also, it took me a while to figure out how to use the peats. So you can actually use it as fertilizer, I believe. I wasted a lot of them because I did not figure out how it works. But anyway, that's how it works. You basically just put the peat and then put the seeds afterwards. And I think it is a fertilizer. Not really sure. Also, I recently bought like grape seeds from the merchant. I wanted to raise some grapes, but for some reason, I can't plant them. So I guess it can only be planted at the area where we saw the vineyard. Vineyard? Question mark. I then unlock a recipe to create steel, and in order to do that, I'll need to make something called a graphite. Also, I need this graphite to be studied and turned into dust so we can make some ink with the dust plus water. Right now, I'm crafting something called a jointing, and this will be used to make a better church bench. So now we have a way better quality church bench. It has some silk in it, so I guess it's gonna be more comfy than our plain old church bench. It also gives a lot of quality in the church. Also, look at these pretty candles. Yeah, the church is bigger. I am able to add more. Also, the soft church bench adds like 3 quality each. So that's a lot compared to 1 that the normal bench adds. I also added a couple of new things at the church cellar. I now have a hand grinder. We can make the graphite, was it, into dust now. And with this dust, we can now make some ink. So yeah, awesome. Actually, not yet, because I needed to make something called an alchemy workbench. And with this workbench, we can now fuse water and the graphite powder and make some black paint. And then the black paint can be turned into ink. It was a pretty long process, but now we had some ink. So yeah, let's go. Finally, we can start writing some new stories and stuff, and we can make a new prayer. I actually made a mistake here. I crafted too many of these pen and inks, and I actually only needed 1 because you can continuously use 1 in order to write a story and stuff. But, well, I did not know that, and this is filling up my storage, honestly. Okay, so our church quality now is 55. So let's see how many faith we get through this sermon. I still don't have a new prayer yet, but yeah, with a quality 55, it should be a lot. So in total, I got about 12 faith. That's pretty much an improvement compared to how many we get before. For my next goal right now, I wanted to make a really good prayer that will increase the amount of faith we get per week. And I was lucky enough to craft this with a 60% chance of crafting a silver starred one. I got it. So yeah, let's go. So with this, we will have 100% and times 2 more faith than usual. Or compared to our simple prayer. The simple prayer is okay, but it's not like this one right now. So I am excited for next week to see how much faith we can gather. And since we've run out of zombie juice, I have no further use for my faith. So I just continuously studied a lot of things I haven't studied yet for the blue points. Also, I never stopped selling stuff to the blacksmith because I really wanted to unlock tier 2 so I can sell him my old tools. I then worked on cleaning the left side of the graveyard so we can start increasing the quality of this place. We can make lawns and flowers for now until we get like bodies that are good enough to put on our graveyard. Honestly, have no idea what I'm gonna do with all those wood. I already have like an unlimited supply at base, but I would need to remove them in order to clean up the area. So this is what the lawn looks like. So there are 3 choices of what kind of lawns you want to make. So basically, you can make use of this to like put in between 2 of your graves, as you can see there. So pretty useful gap, I guess. Afterwards, I continued selling a lot of metals to the blacksmith. I really want to unlock the tier 2, but it's taking very long. Also continued to grind a lot of the blue orbs because there are still so many technologies that I need to unlock or want to unlock, but I am held back because I don't have enough of these blue orbs. Anyways, let's try out our new prayer with 61 church quality. Let's see how much faith we're gonna get from this. Okay, that's amazing. We got a lot of faith, way more than what we get before. The donations are pretty good as well. Oh my god, this is amazing. And so my researching continues because now I have a lot of faith. I made sure to eat some cake first before I researched this for those extra blue orbs. Also, totally forgot where I got this trade license. I think I bought this for like 30 silver just besides the church. But yeah, I now have a trade license and I told the merchant about it. And he wants to partner up. So here we will learn how to manage crates. And we can just place any random item to the crates and it will get sold. So we just need to have something that transfers crates here. Honestly though, I'm not really sure what I'm talking about. But yeah, basically, once we make that crating system, we'll be able to sell a lot of random goods. We just need to put it inside the crate. Also, before we can do this, we'll need to have like flyers and such to advertise about our products. So right now we have a quest to improve the fame of this company or something. So in order to do that, we'll need to have marketing campaign. But that's something that isn't on my priority list right now. But I'll get back to this soon once I have some time. Also, I finally reached tier 2 at the blacksmith. So now I can sell my old tools. And they really sell for a lot. But it seems like the blacksmith doesn't have any money to pay me for this. So I'll need to sell it another day when the blacksmith has some money. I then headed over to the swamp to visit Clotho. And I thought I brought all the materials, but I was actually missing nails. So whenever we try to go back to the swamp again, we'll need to go through the maze all over again because I could not fix the bridge right now. Anyways, my agenda here is to give her the cauldron that she needed. Once I have unlocked the blacksmith at tier 2, he was actually selling the cauldron. So now we can finish our quest. And so I gave her the cauldron. Now she just needs some recipe. So see, I gotta get back here. So I gotta give her a life powder and a bee. I wish I could teleport straight here, but yeah, I can't. So we gotta go home again. And so I grabbed a couple of nails and the ingredients that she needed and went through the swamp again. I then fixed the bridge, so we now have a shortcut towards the swamp and to our farm. So yeah. Also, after giving Clotho the ingredients she needs, she made herself some potion, drank it. Now she recovered her memory, and now she knows how to make the item needed for the merchant to cure his tasteless problems. We just need to make something called a spice, and all we need to do is salt and health solution together and we can make it. Also, by reviving her lost memories, we can now buy a couple of stuff from her store. So she sells the acid that we need for the astronomer, but I'm still thinking that I might be able to craft this myself, so I haven't bought it yet. It took me this long to finally figure out how to burn bodies. So Gary actually told me this like way before, maybe around day 10 or something, but I never really paid attention. But at the very least, we now know how to burn bodies, and we can get ash from this instead of just throwing the bodies in the river. I have a lot of like spoiling bodies here. What I usually do for spoiling bodies, I just harvest all the organs and throw them in the river, but now we can burn them afterwards instead. The process is pretty simple. You just put the body, you burn it, and then you just wait for a while and it turns to ashes and salt. I also started the constructions of my winery in my cellar, but it will take a while because I don't really have the energy and I don't really have wood right now to be able to craft these, but I do have the materials. Also, if you notice the fences in my graveyard, I have improved it and now it gives the graveyard 20 quality, and currently I have a total of 93. So I'm slowly making my graveyard beautiful. And with the fate that I had, I started researching even more body parts or other items that I haven't researched yet. There are still a lot, so it's gonna take a while. So with all the stuff I research, I can now process a bunch of random stuff to extract their liquid, to extract their powder form, and other stuff that I can work with the stuff that I have researched already. So these things are gonna be used in making like potions I haven't discovered yet. But ultimately, my goal right now was to make this spice right here. So this is for the merchant. So this is basically how you make wine. We'll need a pail of grape juice, and we haven't really planted any grapes yet. Also, I built another one of the vine press just below my cellar instead, so I don't need to work on this outside. I can only make the berry juice right now. So yeah, we really need to work our way on like planting some grapes. I continued processing most of the stuff that I can process because they're just eating away my storage space in my cellar. So yeah. And since today was Merchant Day, I then gave him the cure that he needed in order to have his sense of taste back. And now because he really likes the spices, he then gave me a quest to bring him 5 gold star dinners. Not really sure how to make this. It's just the spice, bro, but okay, we'll do our best. Currently, I'm at the point where I really wish I had a zombie working at my garden right now. But, well, we don't. So we're gotta have to figure out how to make the zombie juice because I really need a helping hand in this garden. It's too much work. I then asked Snake if he can find some items for me in town. So the Mirror of Pride, Eternal Burning Coal, and the Salty Fork. But he won't be able to help me until I give him the Necronomicon, which then he would give me the Restoration Tool, and I guess there's something in a continuation kind of quest here, so we can reach about 60 happiness points for Snake. Anyways, I decided to continue raiding the dungeon for now. Currently, we're at like level 4, and I plan to reach like level 5 today. And I managed to accomplish my goal, and now we're at level 5. So there's a very curious ore I wanted to mine here, and also there are now blue slime enemies down here. So as we go deeper and deeper, I guess the enemies get stronger and stronger. That's obvious. This thing that I'm mining, it's actually silver nuggets. So I guess we can find gold eventually as well, since we did found silver. One of the rewards is a chest in level 5 is a bucket of blood. I had to craft it my own, but I could have just actually proceeded with the dungeon and I could have gotten myself the bucket of blood. But no worries, it doesn't really matter. We can just store this, maybe we'll need it in the future. And currently we're at level 6 now. And I got scared here because I have no idea what it is. Is it a bloody bat that like leaves trail of fire? Or is it blood? I'm not really sure anymore. But since I don't really have that much stamina and health anymore, it's time to go home. I then went to the Witch Hill and gave the Inquisitor the firewood that he needed and also the flyers. Anyways, now that they have a candidate to burn, we're gonna go and watch him burn another heretic. Okay, that's horrible. But anyways, I just hope it's not gonna be us one day. Oh my god. Meh. I've seen this show a bunch already. Oh, the crowd is bored. Plus, I'm getting hungry. Let's go. They're not entertained. Witch hunts are finally over. Seems your burning isn't so popular. 5 years ago, this place was packed. Whole families came to watch. Seems everybody just got tired of it. Only my holy anger keeps the Inquisition alive. Even our blessed Inquisition guards haven't been able to find a new witch for a month. It's because of the water shortage, but I think it's just a lack of motivation. Speaking of motivation, do you know how to grow grapes? And due to this conversation, we now have access to the Inquisitor's vineyard or vineyard. I still don't know. And so he wants me to bring him about 10 silver star wine. This will motivate his soldiers, and also if ever they're drunk, he said that there are more witch hunts happening if ever they drunk. I believe they're just picking random people at most because they're drunk or something. But anyways, that's our request right now, to bring him like 10 pieces of wine. So first, I worked up on clearing the way towards the vineyard. So we have a shortcut from the vineyard and our base. Thankfully though, we can actually put a porter here. So if ever our grapes are grown, our porter will just deliver it to our base or to our chest in base. I believe that's how it works. I'm not really sure. And now that I have the permission of the Inquisitor to build stuff on the other side of the graveyard, I then cleaned it up even just a little bit. I just pushed all the logs to the bottom part of it. At least it looks cleaner up, right? Right? And after I was done, a ghost suddenly visited me. I believe it's the same ghost that visited us on our very first days here that wanted us to like exhumate someone and throw them in the river. Anyways, he just wanted to talk to us for a bit and he disappeared. Well, goodbye. I then crafted myself a distillation machine here at my cellar. So with this, we can now make even more solutions. What I really need right now is to get the toxic extract so I can keep making acid, but I'm not really sure how to make this, so that's a problem right now. I renovated my base a bit because currently I really need a lot of stashes because I realized I've been making so many different items that I don't have enough storage. It is just a little renovation where I can have easy access to all of my stashes as well as my stations. So now that we're already at day 98, I'm more organized than ever. Than when I started at least. Also, I started working on my vineyard, planting all the grape seeds that I have. I also improved all my furnace to the best possible furnace. I think this is a level 3 furnace, or I'm not really sure how to call it. Improved furnace or level 3 furnace. I couldn't really figure out how to get the toxic solution, so I decided to just buy acid from Colodo. It would be the easiest solution since it's only like 5 silver and I can easily get the money back by selling wood and metals to the merchants in town. I then went to the farmer to buy a couple of new seeds that I haven't tried planting yet, since I already unlocked tier 2 and tier 3 from him, since I've been planting so many carrots lately and selling them. So I have a lot of money to spare. I bought a silver star pumpkin because Clotho wanted this and she will teach me how to make some pumpkin soup. Anyway, something weird happened as I entered the morgue. Gary was wary of me because I was with the Inquisition. But then I told him otherwise, I don't really support it. I'm just being a friend so he doesn't burn me. Anyways, I continued extracting decaying corpse because I always neglect them. One is even 0% already, as you see on the side. But it's fine. We're burning them because I need to make a lot of ceramic urns with the like ashes of the dead so we can make a stone columbrium. Or is that how it's pronounced? Columbrium? Alright, so we have finally reached day 100 and There's still so many things I need to do in the game. Like ready up the area or burning the corpses so we can have a stone columbrium soon. For now, I'll leave this body here. I actually ran out of like billet or the billets to make the burning areas for the body, so I'll just place the corpse there. It's already rotting to 0 anyways. I then went to Clotho and gave her the pumpkin, and now we have learned some pumpkin soup recipe, cabbage soup, and also vegetable soup. And with this, I think we can conclude our 100 days in Graveyard Keeper. I swear, there's still so many things. I'm not even close to making the portal back home. I'll definitely continue this series, so don't forget to click that like and subscribe button. And thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed your stay. So yeah, this is goodbye for me now. Bye-bye.